implementing NADA in disaster situations. He's also the developer of enotropic therapy, which you're welcome to ask him about, and trained in Ayurvedic medicine. And he lives in Van Buren, Missouri.
Thank you. Really a pleasure to be here, and I'll just zip through these because we have a limited amount of time, but this was basically a year ago in Kansas City. This is where, I think that's Mr. Whitaker, if I'm not mistaken. The next day, I graduated along with about 30 other people. 34. And went home blissfully. The next slide, please. Okay, and the next day was May 22nd. It's when the tornado hit Joplin, Missouri. And within another 2 days, I believe this was the 26th, we had organized a training with Acupuncturists Without Borders. This was Melanie Rubin that came from Austin, I believe. Really wonderful folks. There's, oh gosh, and this is terrible, a little stage fright, folks, please forgive me. But there was Sage Norberry, Vinnie McKinney, Nate Wax, Stacy Flathers, several other folks that I had just finished the training with in Kansas City had come together for this training. More folks that had been in Kansas City showed up during our deployments. Next one, please. All right, so I deployed. I went to Joplin, and we had made arrangements with the Red Cross to have a little corner to be able to work in their areas. It was called the Bridge. So next one, please. This is me driving into town. This is when and as these weren't staged. This was a news crew, and it genuinely was as real as it gets. Next one, please. This was the hospital, 8-story hospital. All of the windows had been knocked out, or sucked out, rather. Many patients. I think there were 14 people killed during the storm here. This entire structure was shifted 8 to 12 inches off of its foundation. Next one, please. The truth is, I was trying to find where we were to be. Next one, please. This is what I was directed through. And this was basically 7 days after the disaster. This is as the cleanup was really getting underway. Next one, please. Again, just another one, and the next as well. These are just some shots, but this is what I was slowly getting to my destination and had to stop for a moment. These were the scenes that were right outside the window of my car. Next, please. And again, this is where I was led to go. This was a Salvation Army store. Had just been opened about 2 weeks before. And this is where I had been directed to go. So next one, please. This was the tent that they had set up and where I had been sent. There's a fan in the back, big, tall, round fan. And the director, very kind person, and I believe he was Dutch, says that I could have a little space back in the corner. It was about 8 by 12 feet. So next, please. Within about 4 days, they had willingly expanded our space to about 20 by 40 feet. Actually, we had metal folding chairs to start with. And they replaced those with the white chairs. Stacy Flathers and Abba Anderson went out and negotiated a deal with Walmart to give us these zero-gravity was for 20 apiece. So they were very kind. That was the sign that we had. And the ear seats for kids, remember that. We'll come back to that. Next, please. This was my mobile acupuncture clinic. And my family had set up a bed in the back of it for me. So that's where I went, and that's what I went prepared with. I had a couple of my own camping chairs in there to set up, a tarp that would come off the back of my wagon and so forth. Next. This was my inspiration. It was, excuse me, I thought I was going to be able to do this. But this gentleman had come out of the basement of his house. 5 of his family members had dug their way out of the basement of his house and survived the storm in this structure. So, and he was so gracious, so kind, and came over to visit and check and see if we needed anything. So, next. Some more just as I was going back and forth, the Salvation Army was really just a joy and a wonder to watch. Next. This kid from St. Louis had been down there for 10 days by the time we got there. I put him in the chair. His first experience with acupuncture. He hadn't slept maybe 2 hours every night, he said. So it took about 5 minutes for him to be in this condition. Next. Here he is, a little more vibrant. Next. These gentlemen, the first responders, were very, very kind, very professional, and were very stern, very businesslike. But these guys came in very early on. I had just learned about the ear seats, magnetic seats. So I'm going to try this. I thought a lifetime supply, which I went through in about 2 weeks. So I was sending these guys out, and I'm saying, you know, I've read that these help to mediate temperature. And it was 90 degrees plus, wind blowing all the time. So I put seeds on both of these guys after I needled them and sent them back out. The big guy on the left came back, he says, "What's on those seeds?" And I said, "Excuse me, what's wrong, sir?" He said, "Well, I did what you told me. I was out directing traffic, and they had flak jackets on, Kevlar jack boots. Really an unpleasant situation." He says, "I rubbed those seeds, and it felt like an air conditioner came up through under my uniform." It was my first experience with those, and I did it with basically everyone after that, particularly the first responders. Next, please. The next couple and next.